What's up, everyone? Welcome to week number 3 of our Race Education Challenge. This is the Civil Review Board. So this week's video is going to be a little bit quicker. Last week's video was 20 minutes long, and I want to try and cut it down for you guys. I've also got some family in town, so we're going to make this short and sweet, to the point, and we'll get everybody cracking for week number 3. All right, so last week we covered Brown v. Board. We also covered the Civil Rights Act and the Black Panther Party, Vietnam, and then we also covered some of the movies. We watched some movies. Hopefully, you got to watch maybe more than one over the weekend. If not, I highly encourage you to go back and check out ones that you weren't able to get into. Last week's purpose was to show the history of the modern day civil rights movement, right? The foundation of the modern day civil rights movement, so that we can make a connection from those same topics from back then and the things that they were fighting for back then to what we are experiencing today and the systems that we are engaging with today, the systems that we think that we need to adjust to make everything better for everyone else, right? So the Civil Rights Act, the podcast went into extreme detail behind the mindset and the politics that went into getting the Civil Rights Act passed. Brown versus Board of Education obviously covered the school systems and getting those integrated, and then the Black Panther Party. I really like the Black Panther Party lessons that we hopefully picked up on because, and I think there's a reason why Lindsay pretty much honed in on those guys holding in on those guys, not only because there's so much misinformation out there about them, but also because they are really good models of what we can pretty much mimic or imitate and replicate their ideas into real initiatives out there in the community. That being said, I just want to let you all know that we are 100% getting started on creating our own initiatives. We have a meeting next week with some people here in Michigan that I've built a bond with, and we're going to see what we can come up with to get out there on our own, to get off, obviously, the camera and get out and contribute with action. So stand by for that. But that's one of the reasons I think Lindsay made it a point to really focus on the Black Panther Party. Then she had us go into a couple other things like the war and the movies that we were recommending that you watch over the weekend, all focus on some historical figures, some heroes. And I guess that brings me to a question that I want to pose to you all is who are your heroes? Like, who do we look at to say, I want to be like that person? And I'm not talking a role model or a family friend or a father or anyone like that. I'm talking growing up, we all wanted to be Batman, or we all want to be Superman, or whatever you wanted to be, Spider-Man, or I think Wolverine. I want to be Wolverine for a little bit of time there. But what real life people that have done real life things that we want to copy, that we want to look up to and say, hey, I want to be the person that, like Malcolm X. For me, it's Malcolm X, because he has a checkered past and he has been through things that were questionable, and he's experienced life on a different side of the railroad tracks, right? And he was able to really do work that helped him come back center and come back to contributing positive energy and positive ideas and positive movements in the world. So I like learning about Malcolm X, but I also obviously have a good portfolio of people that I try to emulate. So figure that out for yourself. Figure out, who tugs on your heartstrings in the way that makes you say, I want to be like that guy, or I want to be like that girl or that woman, and do that, and start to educate yourself about their past and their history and what they contributed to things like social justice. So week number 3 is powerful. This is where Lindsay's going to drive home the understanding that all of these issues are prevalent today. They exist. They are real. Nobody's making this up. She provides so much. If you look at the breakdown for this week, there's a lot of material to cover, because you need to make the connections and come to terms with the fact that this stuff is not just going away because someone signed a piece of paper in 1964. The lack of attention, the lack of effort, the misguided effort, the whatever you want to call it, has allowed a lot of these things to develop into issues that we see in our healthcare, our housing system, the schools, right? And the school to prison pipeline, and the inequality in access to education, wealth, the wage gap, not only between rich and poor, but black and white. And why does that wage gap exist? Is it real? Yes, it is. And you're going to find out this week exactly why it's real and what we can do to maybe start cutting down at that wage gap and tearing into that wage gap to make things more equitable for real. And then voting, democracy. What happens when you disenfranchise, and what does disenfranchise really mean? Understanding what voter suppression is, understanding why it affects black communities so viciously in America, and understanding what we can do and what we can demand to happen moving forward so that every person in America is one person and one vote. So you're getting this video on a Monday. It's a holiday. Maybe you've got some time off. I highly encourage that you start jumping into these topics. If you can finish maybe one or two at a time, that'd be really cool. But there's a lot of detail in this week. So make sure you soak it up. Make sure you read the articles, read the essays, watch all the YouTube videos. It's a lot of cool different types of content. So it's not boring and it's not gonna be stagnant. You're really going to get a lot from this week. And then next, we are getting ready to make our first donation come March 1. We're going to make a donation in an area or to a cause that supports anti-racism. So if you have an idea or a cause you'd like to support or anything you want us to maybe look at or consider when we make our small, it's not, we're still, obviously we're still growing. So we're gonna make a small little friendly donation to this company. We'll research it. We'll understand the cause. We'll understand what they're trying to accomplish, and then hopefully shed some light on things that people are out there doing that we can support. Again, if you have anything that you haven't covered from the previous 2 weeks, go back, make sure you read through it, make sure you get to it, because if you miss some stuff, then you're just leaving a puzzle unfinished or pieces just kind of sitting to the side. It's nice to get the edges, but it ain't nothing if you don't fill it all in. So let's make sure we're finishing all of our work. Make sure you are inviting people to join us. Head to the website, www.thecrb.org. Subscribe, like this video, subscribe to the channel, engage with us when you can, and let's make some good things happen.